Are you considering a move to Minnesota? Well, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 things that are great about this state and maybe 5 things that aren't so great. And we're starting right now. Hey everybody, my name is David Calhoun. I'm a realtor in Minneapolis, Minnesota with Keller Williams Integrity Lakes. And in this video, I'm sharing the 5 things that are fantastic about living in Minnesota and the 5 things that maybe aren't so great. Number 1 are the mosquitoes during the summertime. Minnesota has the joke that the mosquito is our state bird. Yes, during the summers it is a little bit humid, and by that the mosquitoes come out. We have a lot of lakes, and as you know, mosquitoes love bodies of water. And so during June, July, and August, there are some mosquitoes. However, if you use a little bit of bug spray and you are not afraid of citronella candles, you will have no issue keeping the mosquitoes away. There are some things you can do to mitigate the mosquitoes, but just know there are definitely mosquitoes here in the summertime. Number 2 are the short summers in Minnesota. It seems like summers come and go so quickly. It really starts getting warm in May and starts getting very chilly at the end of September, early October. Sometimes we'll have nicer weather in October, which pushes the fall season a little bit later, but it seems like summer just comes so quickly and then it's here and gone. So summers, short summers specifically, are not a highlight in Minnesota. Number 3 is the traffic. So while Minnesota is relatively a large state, the Twin Cities is quite populous. A little over 3.5 million people currently live in the Twin Cities. And so if you are in the Twin Cities area, you will experience some traffic. Now, we're not talking about traffic like you would experience in larger cities like Los Angeles or Atlanta or Houston or even Chicago. However, you will on average spend about 70 hours a year in traffic here in Minnesota, specifically the Twin Cities. So definitely consider traffic before you decide to move to Minnesota. Number 4 is the construction. So due to our short summers and our long winters, the construction crew, Minnesota Department of Transportation, has a very short window to get construction done on our roads. And then when you think about the seasonality here in the Twin Cities and Minnesota as a whole, between hot and cold, the roads take a beating. And so the Department of Transportation needs to repair those roads, and they end up doing a lot of construction, which only makes traffic worse when they're doing highway closures, lane closures, detours, and so there is definitely a lot of construction in Minnesota. The running joke in Minnesota is there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota: winter and road construction. So that can play a factor in whether you are willing to move to Minnesota or not. And the last thing, winter. Winters on average can last anywhere from 5 to 6 months, starting in November and can go all the way through April. The worst months for cold are typically January and February. But hey, most Minnesotans will take some form of vacation during the winter and be able to experience some sun and warmth. So that's definitely an option. Minnesota has an average of 70 inches of snow during the year, and our average temp in the winter is 8 degrees. You will experience negative temperatures, wind chills in the double digits. I kid you not, double digits. We sometimes have school closures due to the cold weather because it's unsafe for kids to be at the bus stop. So the weather is definitely something to consider when moving to Minnesota, but all those things are really minimal when you consider the benefits of living in the great state of Minnesota. So let's get started on the 5 things that are fantastic about this state. Number 1 is the job market. The economy in Minnesota is really strong. We actually have 19 Fortune 500 companies in Minnesota right now. These include Target, Best Buy, 3M, Land O'Lakes, and General Mills. The unemployment rate in Minnesota is 3.2%, which is one of the lowest in the country. Number 2 is the cost of living. Minnesota ranks lower in cost of living than the national average in regards to grocery, housing, transportation, healthcare. And so it's a fantastic place to live because your dollar goes farther. And the average home price in Minnesota is just $235,000. If you want to be in Minneapolis specifically, the housing prices are definitely higher than that. Number 3 is the Minnesota State Fair, aka the Great Minnesota Get Together. The State Fair is the capstone event ending summer. It's 12 days leading up to Labor Day where everyone gets together and just eats food. There's concerts, there are craft shows, there are games, there's rides. Last year in 2019, there was over 2.1 million people that attended the State Fair. And there are nearly 500 different foods there. Number 4 is the park system and bike trails throughout the state. There are over 4,000 paved bike trails in the state of Minnesota. And so if you are a walker, runner, cyclist, you will love living in Minnesota. Minnesota is also ranked as the 7th healthiest state in the nation. Number 5 is the restaurant scene in Minnesota. Specifically in Minneapolis, there is every food imaginable, from Thai to sushi to steakhouses to Italian to American. Just to name a few: Murray's, Spoon and Sable, Butcher and the Boar, and Bar La Grassa. If you love eating food, which who doesn't love eating food, Minnesota is the place to be. We have so many options for dining, and they are fantastic. Overall, Minnesota is a fantastic place to live. We have over 5.5 million people. We have a strong economy. We have excellent jobs available, low unemployment rate, affordable housing. And so if you are contemplating moving to Minnesota, absolutely, Minnesota is a great place to live. And if you are thinking of raising a family here, we have excellent school districts available. And so if you have questions about which suburb to move to, what's this city like versus this city like, feel free to reach out. I will give you a relocation guide if you reach out to me and see if that can be of benefit for you in relocating your family to Minnesota. I will give you every resource available to me, and hopefully that will help you deciding if Minnesota is the right place for you. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. I post new videos every single week about all things real estate.